So I'm out here on Chesil Beach and it's a beautiful day and I just want to show you how icy it is. Um, you can probably see a little bit. I've got some pictures as well, but there is a layer of ice on these pebbles and it's not even it's not coming off just by me rubbing it. It's on the wood, it's on feathers, it's on seaweed. It's really cool on the seaweed. It's even on the cuttlefish bones and it's on mermaid's purse too. And just to show you how cold it is, like when I try and move, okay, this is a bad example. If I try and move this rock, like that's stuck. They are frozen together, like that. This is me pulling quite hard, and it's just come out there. But like they're properly frozen. And I just spoke to a local cafe owner, and in 3 years, she's only had to defrost her car twice. And today is one of those days. So yeah, just wanted to share that. You can't really see it from a distance, and it's all going to be melted over there now. But yeah, I've never seen a frozen beach before, and I thought I'd share. There's a cool bit of seaweed that's like it's great the way the textures show up. But it is, yeah. Can you see that? Oh, so cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll show you some pictures now.
Hello, welcome back. That video clip you just saw, that's probably the closest I'm going to get to vlogging for a while. I did consider, doing the whole out in the world, out in the wild, turning the camera towards me, but I'm not quite there yet. So I'm going to stick with this format for now. Anyway, yeah, so as you saw, that was the last day of 2020. Yay, we made it. Um, But yeah, that was the last day of 2020, and I was amazed to see the beach frozen. And I want to share with you just a few more pictures that I took. I went out, I mean, I always go out with a long lens attached, but thankfully I did bring a wide angle and a macro lens with me. So I will now show you some of the pictures I took. So we'll start with this one, which is actually one of the last photos I took. Um, and it was quite hard to find an angle that showed the sea and the beach but also showed some of the frost. I don't have I just have a standard like kit wide angle zoom lens, so it's not really the best for like close up wide angles. But this I think worked quite well, and gave it a lot of like depth. You can kind of like look down, yeah, from the foreground to the background, and you can really see like that frost is like caked on. So I've got a couple bits similar to that. One of the few larger bits of debris on the beach was this log, and you can see that's got a nice covering of like frost on top of it. It's quite Christmassy, kind of looks like one that you could just eat. So that was nice to kind of, yeah, put that in the foreground and just give the image a bit of context, and yeah, get a bit of background in there to show the location. Now to the macro now. A few macro shots. This is just a pebble, and honestly, it's like one of my favorite photos that I've taken. Yeah, I love these photos. I think they're really cool. Like it's hard to photograph something like a pebble and make it look interesting, but yeah, it's nice to see that they've got like the droplets and things, the detail, everything like that is just, yeah, really nice, really adds something to it. It looked pretty, yeah, like I think on the grey rock it obviously looks really cold, and then on the more orange rocks it just gives it something like a bit more texture, a bit more pattern. So I was kind of just experimenting with the different rocks. I quite like the above shot view of things. I think it's quite like a almost like a still life kind of look to it. And I feel like these would look quite cool, maybe even as a print. And then here's like just a wider shot to show, like I think, yeah, now that I look at it, I'm like, can you actually tell that it's frost? Does it just look like they're wet rocks? But I think you can. Hopefully you get the gist. Nice frosting there. And then, you know, things like mermaid's purse, if you don't know, these are the egg cases of dogfish and rays and things like that. So like shark species, sharks have these eggs. The ends of the purse, as they call it, they will wrap around seaweed and they look quite camouflage against the seaweed. If you've ever been to a sea life centre, you can normally see them on display, and if you look through a light, you can see like the little baby shark or ray wiggling around inside. These ones are already obviously empty, and if you ever find them on the beach and you pick them up, you can normally see like the edge where the baby shark has like eaten its way out, and there'll be a little hole. But it was cool to see it like, you know, frozen. You get to see like a lot more. Like I feel like it brings out a lot of the pattern and the texture and the details. So that was really nice. And I mean, that's just, you know, it's just pretty, isn't it? You ever just see something like that's just pretty. Frozen feather. It's just pretty. And I liked, you know, I kind of took different bits of the feather into like their own segments, and I like the way this one's kind of like got a bit wrapped around it and things like that. But yeah, it's just pretty. Again, back to a bit of a wide angle one, and another big bit of seaweed with lots of texture. And it's interesting where we have cliffs behind us here. You know, this was early. It wasn't too early, but basically the sun will rise at say, I don't know, 8, but the actual sun doesn't reach the beach for a few hours because we're behind the cliff, because it's behind the cliff. So things, I was sort of racing against the sun that was coming slowly more, because I thought, right, you know, we don't get frost here very often. And once the sun reaches the bit of beach, then it's basically gonna like, yeah, it's basically gonna melt, and this is like a one-time opportunity. So this is the same bit of seaweed, but obviously more close up. So the last one, that's very much just showing it like in place and where it is and what it is. And this one, so that one was for context, and this is more the image that I really wanted to make, which is like different, just really looking. I think I was really focusing on like the curves and the shapes. There's a bit of like an S shape going on, kind of. I don't know. Can you see it? Can you see what I mean? And then all the different ways. Like I liked seeing how the frost kind of attaches to different things in different ways. So on some surfaces it sort of scatters, and on other surfaces it will just like coat it and imitate it, and like just, yeah. So that's quite cool. These are like my favorite pictures from this day. I mean, you can really see like the snowflakes. It's making me cold just to look at it, so I'm just gonna take a sip of tea. But yeah, like it was so cool to see that like the frost has just coated the tips of it. It hasn't gone in between it very much, so it just makes a really, like, it emphasizes the pattern of the seaweed even more so. So I took lots of different angles and shots of this one, just to see, yeah, to see what sort of things I could create, what sort of patterns, what sort of images. I also experimented a lot with like depth of field with this. So I think, I don't know if you could tell. So with this one, there's a bit of a deeper depth of field, a bigger f-stop. So f-stop, if you don't know, is that's f-stop and aperture are like the same thing. So if it's a small depth of field, that means less is in focus. That means a smaller number, but when it's a smaller number, the inside of the lens is bigger. So like f 5.6 is that big, and then it's like f6, f8, f11, f22, and the smaller the hole, the bigger the number, if that makes sense. And then I don't know if that's just confusing or not, but there's graphs out there that explain it much better. But basically, this was like a bigger depth of field to have more in focus. But I think I actually prefer the smaller depth of field, because I think it's too distracting to have so much going on with this. Whereas with the smaller depth of field, it's nice to just get like a slither of focus, and then you really pay attention to that bit of the detail, like that bit of snowflake. But overall, like the pattern is still there, so it works. So this is what I was photographing. This is the wider view of that piece of seaweed from the last pictures, and it was the last thing that I saw that I really wanted to photograph. But I'd already put my gear away, so I was hesitating. I was like, oh, should I? It was freezing at this point, and I'd been like on the floor with my knees on the floor, and like my legs. I'd forget to wear waterproof trousers every single time. So I tend to just have like wet knees wherever I go, which I'm sure is like I don't know if people notice, but if they do, it's a bit weird. But yeah, I frequently have wet knees because I'm always like, I end up just kneeling on the floor, not realizing that it's wet, or forgetting that frozen ground also means that it will melt and make my knees wet. So I was like, oh, I'm really cold. Should I actually stop and take more pictures? And I'm glad I did, because those last few shots are like my favourite from the day. And I couldn't really miss the opportunity to photograph a frozen beach, because like it's just the opposite of what you think of. When you think beach, you think warm, you think hot, you think, a holiday. But in reality, it does get cold here. Like shock horror, it gets cold here. And yeah, so I just thought I'd share. I think that's the last one. Yeah, so back to the beginning there. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this little look at something that I just thought was pretty cool. That's basically what these videos are, just me chatting about stuff that I see that I think's kind of neat. And yeah, if you are enjoying these videos, please hit subscribe. You can also turn on a notification, and that will let you know when I've posted a video. And my aim for this year is to do at least one a month, if not more, maybe more. We'll see how we go. Yeah, and if you're not really on YouTube much, you can also sign up to my newsletter, and I'll put like an email out when the videos go out there too. But yeah, I hope you will join me again. Bring a beverage if you like. It's pretty cold at the minute. I hope you're keeping warm. Hope you're getting outside and enjoying nature where you can. My lockdown routine is basically wake up. I can still work, so I wake up, plan my work day, go for a walk. Sometimes I take my camera, sometimes I don't take my camera. Usually I take either a camera or binoculars, and then at some point someone will see me on the walk and go, "Ooh, what you looking at? Ooh, what's your," like like a guy brought over when I was doing these pictures, a guy walked over and he was like, "Oh, have you seen these ones with the fossils in? This would make a good picture," and that was really cool. And the other day I was walking around with my binoculars and someone was like, "Oh, by the way, there's kingfishers here." So yeah, it's still worth, I know we're restricted at the moment, but there's still so much stuff out there. So I hope you're like managing to go out and just look at stuff and enjoy it. That's basically what I do, and it's improving my days, definitely. But yeah, so yeah, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. See you next time.